And welcome to my more important chart analysis videos on Friday the 12th of January with me, Richard Perry, market analyst at Hantec Markets. We've got a strong euro today, and that's come on the back of a breakthrough in discussions between Angela Merkel and Martin Schulz over a coalition government in Germany. The SPD and CDSU seem to be having a breakthrough in these discussions, and that suggests that we're going to get a government in Germany, and a government that sort of is having the SPD influence, which would mean more of an emphasis on EU integration, which certainly helps the euro, and that's broken out above 2092 today, as you can see here, that September high. And if I zoom out to 5 years, that is now a 3-year high, the highest since December 2014, I believe. So really strong move on the euro today, and we're seeing that across the markets. We're also seeing a weaker dollar. Dollar weakness is coming through throughout the majors, really. That's the euro, but also sterling is following it higher. Sterling breakout would come above 36.12 on a near-term basis, so that is a key level to watch. But also latterly against the other currencies as well, the commodity currencies. Had been weaker earlier on the back of China trade data, but subsequently with the dollar weakness, we're seeing that rebound. But generally speaking, the dollar is under pressure. Look at that, the trade-weighted dollar falling ever more back towards that September low of 91 figure. So it's not too far off there now. So that is just general dollar weakness, and we're seeing that through the gold price, which is broken out again above 1326, which was resistance yesterday, breaking out and continuing the move early today. So really looking rather negative for the dollar across the board. In terms of equity markets, there's an interesting sort of consolidation really on these equity markets. S&P 500 strong again, huge gains again, 0.7% again, all-time highs, just not stopping to every time you get any sort of a correction it gets bought into. But still we're seeing the Wall Street indices continuing higher. Earnings season starts in earnest today with Wells Fargo earnings today, so big banks on Wall Street will be driving sentiment, you'd imagine, but certainly in front of that it looks pretty strong, doesn't it? But the dollar not so much. So lots of interesting moves. Now we've got inflation data today for the US and retail sales. That is the main focus, and we've got those this afternoon. That data 1:30, both of those are released. Now we had the PPI yesterday for the States, disappointed or certainly weaker than expected yesterday on the downside, and subsequently does that put pressure on for the CPI data today. Headline expected to drop to 2.1%, core expected to stay at 1.7, but certainly if the core dropped to 1.6, that would not be good for the dollar. So watch out for that. And also retail sales at 1:30, 0.4% positive on the ex-autos retail sales. So my chart today is the DAX, again, I've spoken about this several times within this sort of choppy range. Every time you get any sort of look at a breakout, it gets retraced, and it's a false move, and we've seen that time and time again, several occasions. And again, we saw a breakout earlier this week, and we've seen the move starting to retrace again. Another couple of bear candles. Seems as though early day gains are being sold into. Here you can see the hourly chart, whereby you see the early gains sold into, and again we've seen early jump to the upside, but will that be sold into? We've got the momentum indicators, which are relatively negatively configured, although the stochastics have crossed higher on the back of the early gains today. But again, if the RSI starts to fail around the 50 point, that would again not be great. You've got the resistance at 13,300 now. Interesting that the resistance at 13,250 today was around about the lows that we'd seen in several occasions through yesterday and the day before. So yeah, the resistance, old support becoming new resistance, interestingly today. So a break back below 13,200 would not be good, certainly, and that would put the pressure on. You saw it close yesterday around that 13,200 mark. Again, that would be another negative session, and yeah, not looking great. But yes, it certainly looks as though the corrective move within this fairly choppy range on the DAX is now underway. So with that in mind, I wish you good luck in your trading today, and I'll speak to you later.